Ibrahim Traore warned him. He showed him the signs. Traore told him the warships were not there for a show, but when Ayatollah Khomeini dismissed Ibrahim Traore's intelligence as impossible, he had no idea it would be the warning he would regret ignoring. The call came late at night. Ibrahim Traore stood alone in his office. Lights dim, a large map glowing on the wall behind him. Red markers blinked slowly across the sea. Satellite images had just arrived. Naval movements. Unusual positioning. Warships that were not there for training. He stared at the screen for a long time. "This is not a show of force," he said quietly to his intelligence chief. "This is preparation." Across the world, powerful men believed they controlled secrets. But Traore had learned something over the years. Movements speak louder than speeches. He ordered a secure international line opened. It took time. Layers of protocol. Layers of clearance. Finally, the call connected. On the other end was the office of Ayatollah Khomeini. The room in Burkina Faso was silent. Traore spoke clearly. "I bring you a warning," he said. There was a pause. The voice on the other end sounded formal, calm, distant. "What warning could Burkina Faso possibly give us?" the official replied. Traore did not react to the tone. "Warships have repositioned," he said. "This is not routine movement. This is staging." Soft laughter came through the line. "You are mistaken," the official replied. "You do not have access to such intelligence." Traore's jaw tightened. "I do not speak without certainty," he said firmly. The line was transferred higher. Minutes later, the Ayatollah himself was informed of the unusual call. Traore repeated his message directly. "The ships are not there for a show," he said. "They are there for operation." There was silence. Then a measured response. "You are young," came the voice. "You cannot possibly know what you claim." Traore did not raise his voice. "Movements across water do not lie," he said. "Patterns have changed." The response was dismissive. "These matters are beyond your reach." In Ouagadougou, the air felt heavy. Traore glanced again at the satellite images. He saw coordination. He saw positioning. He saw timing. This was not political theater. This was alignment. He tried once more. "I am not calling to interfere," he said. "I am calling to prevent." The reply was cold. "We control our security." The line went quiet. The call ended. Traore remained still for several seconds. Around him, advisors waited. "He dismissed it," one of them said softly. Traore nodded slowly. "He believes secrets protect him." He walked toward the map. The red markers continued blinking. "Ships do not gather without reason," he said quietly. Outside, the night in Ouagadougou was calm. But far away, waters were shifting, and a warning had just been ignored. The room stayed silent after the call ended. No one spoke for several seconds. On the wall, the digital map continued to glow. Blue oceans, red blinking markers, thin lines showing naval paths over the past 72 hours. Ibrahim Traore did not sit. He walked slowly toward the screen. "Zoom in," he ordered. The image shifted. Warships that had been spread apart were now moving closer together. Supply vessels were trailing behind them. Aerial patrol patterns had increased. "This is not symbolic positioning," Traore said quietly. "This is coordination." One intelligence officer stepped forward carefully. "Sir, major powers often reposition fleets for deterrence." Traore nodded slightly. "Yes, but deterrence does not require this formation." He pointed to a narrow maritime corridor. "They are tightening here." The officer swallowed. "That suggests containment." Traore's voice grew firmer. "Containment before movement." Another satellite feed appeared. Night imagery, heat signatures, aircraft carriers, warming launch decks. That detail changed the mood in the room. "This is escalation," someone whispered. Traore turned. "And yet they laugh." He walked back toward the table and placed both hands on it. "Prepare another channel," he said. "But sir," one advisor hesitated, "they already dismissed you." Traore looked directly at him. "Truth does not change because it is ignored." The second call attempt was shorter. This time, the response from the other side was colder. "We have reviewed your concerns," came the official voice. "There is no threat." Traore's tone sharpened. "Ships do not reposition at night for ceremonies." "You are speculating," the official replied. "I am analyzing." Traoré corrected. A pause. You presume to understand operations far beyond your scope. Traoré did not flinch. I understand patterns. Patterns do not lie. The voice on the other end grew slightly irritated. These are top-secret matters. You cannot know what you claim to know. Traoré glanced at the screen one more time. Top secret does not mean invisible. The line fell silent. Then came the final statement from the other side. We appreciate your concern, but it is unnecessary. The call ended again. Inside the room, tension rose. One officer spoke quietly. They believe you are guessing. Traoré shook his head. They believe information belongs only to the powerful. He turned back to the map. They mistake confidence for security. A new report arrived. Satellite confirmation of additional vessels joining the formation. The circle was closing. Traoré's expression hardened. They are not preparing for dialogue, he said. Outside the building, the city of Ouagadougou moved peacefully through the night. Inside, a storm was visible only through screens. One of the younger analysts looked at Traoré. Sir, if you are right, Traoré finished the sentence calmly. Then time is short. He stood upright. Document everything. Archive timestamps. Preserve imagery. Why? The officer asked. Traoré's voice was steady. Because when the world asks who saw it coming, we will have the answer. He looked once more at the blinking markers. They were no longer random. They were aligned. A line across water. A formation with purpose. And somewhere far away, a leader believed he was safe behind secrecy. But secrecy cannot stop movement, and movement was accelerating. The third call was not planned. It was urgent. At 2:17 a.m., new satellite images arrived. The warships had shifted again. This time, the formation tightened. Support vessels moved into shielding positions. Air patrol routes overlapped. Fuel carriers aligned behind the fleet. This was no longer posture. This was readiness. Ibrahim Traoré stared at the screen. They are moving into execution phase, he said quietly. One advisor looked uneasy. Sir, if we call again, they may see it as interference. Traoré did not hesitate. Call. The secure line connected slower this time. Voices sounded irritated. You have already expressed your concern, came the response. Traoré's tone was firm. This is different. Silence. Speak. The ships have moved again, Traoré said. They are not in observation pattern. They are in strike formation. A brief pause. That is impossible, the voice replied sharply. It is visible, Traoré said. Heat signatures confirm deck activity. You are misinterpreting. Traoré's voice did not rise. I am not misinterpreting. The call was transferred again, higher. This time, the Ayatollah's voice carried authority. You persist, he said calmly. I persist because timing matters, Traoré replied. You presume access to knowledge beyond your capacity. Traoré stepped closer to the screen, as if the other side could see it. Carriers do not warm decks for display. Supply ships do not reposition for ceremony. Patrol arcs do not overlap for decoration. Silence. You are seeing shadows, the Ayatollah responded. I am seeing alignment, Traoré corrected. The tone on the other end grew dismissive. You cannot possibly know the internal decisions of powerful nations. Traoré answered immediately. I do not need to know their decisions. I can see their movements. There was a pause. You are young, the Ayatollah said. You mistake observation for insight. Traoré's voice became steady and intense. And you mistake secrecy for protection. The room in Ouagadougou felt charged. Even the analysts stopped typing. I am warning you one final time, Traoré said. The ships are not there for a show. They are there for operation. The reply came colder than before. We do not require warnings from you. The line disconnected. Silence filled the office. One advisor spoke quietly. They will not act. Traoré stared at the blinking markers. They believe the ocean hides intent. He walked toward the window. The night outside remained calm. But thousands of miles away, engines were active. Deck crews were moving. Launch systems were being prepared. Inside the room, a young analyst's voice trembled slightly. Sir, what happens now? Traoré did not answer immediately. He looked back at the screen. They believe they are untouchable, he said quietly. Then he added, no one is untouchable when timing aligns. The red markers on the map were no longer blinking separately. They had formed a shape that meant action, and somewhere far away, a leader had just dismissed the final warning. The news came at dawn. It moved first as a whisper across secure channels, then as urgent confirmations, then as breaking headlines across the world. Ayatollah Khomeini was dead. The operation had been precise, sudden, decisive. The same maritime corridor that had glowed red on Ibrahim Traoré's screen now filled international broadcasts. Analysts pointed to the warships, to the formations, to the timing. In Ouagadougou, the intelligence room was silent. No one celebrated. No one spoke loudly. One officer slowly turned toward Traoré. "It happened exactly as you predicted," he said quietly. Traoré did not respond immediately. He stared at the same map, now replaying archived footage. Deck activity, strike formation, execution timing. Every detail had aligned. Across the world, confusion spread. Statements were issued. Denials followed. Emergency meetings were called. And inside the Iranian leadership circle, disbelief turned into shock. Hours later, a secure message reached Ouagadougou. It was not formal. It was not public. It was quiet. A senior Iranian official requested immediate communication. The call connected. This time, there was no laughter, no dismissal, only heavy breathing and strained voices. "You were right," the official said slowly. Traoré closed his eyes briefly. "It was visible," he replied calmly. "We did not think." The voice trailed off. "You believed secrecy was shield enough," Traoré said. Silence. "They moved faster than expected," the official added. Traoré's tone was steady. "They moved exactly as expected." On the other end of the line, regret could be heard. "We should have taken precautions." Traoré did not answer immediately. He remembered the first call, the laughter, the dismissal. "You cannot possibly know." He remembered saying, "Ships do not gather without reason." Now the reason had arrived. "We underestimated the pattern," the official admitted quietly. Traoré's voice softened slightly. "Patterns never lie. People choose not to see them." Outside the presidential office, the sun rose slowly over Burkina Faso. Inside, the weight of what had happened settled heavily. The official on the line spoke again. "If we had acted..." The sentence hung unfinished. Traoré finished it calmly. "You might have changed the timing." Silence returned. This time, it was not dismissive. It was reflective. "You tried to warn us," the official said. "Yes," Traoré answered. "We did not listen." The regret in the voice was unmistakable. Traoré walked toward the map one more time. The red markers were gone. Only empty blue ocean remained. "Power does not make anyone immune," he said quietly. The call ended. In the intelligence room, no one spoke for a long time. Finally, one analyst asked softly, "Sir, how did you know?" Traoré looked at the archived footage again. "I did not know their plans," he said. "I saw their preparation." He turned away from the screen. Preparation always reveals intention. Across the world, commentators debated. Some called it sudden. Some called it shocking. But in one quiet room in Ouagadougou, it had never been surprising. It had been visible and ignored. The regret had come too late.